Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time. I'm September Storrie. So two things. A fly has decided to take up residency in the window behind me today. So welcome fly to my video. He's not interested in being quiet, so I hope you enjoy him co-hosting this video with me. I didn't feel like chasing him around the room to get him out or smack him or whatever. So, and the second thing is my husband's having a rough day with migraines. So he's in the other room and he may be watching TV or something. So you might hear that as well. So we're batting 1,000. But you know, when you're having a bad day like that, I'm fine with you interfering with my videos. The fly agrees. I don't know if you can hear the fly. Maybe I'm making it into something it's not, but I don't know. So anyways, I wanted to start doing some story time videos just to kind of see if that's something you guys like, because I definitely like telling stories. I come from a family of storytellers, and it was kind of a joke that in all our home videos at like parties or social gatherings or whatever, my dad was somewhere in the background telling some kind of story. I think that is me as well. So here we are. I thought we'd do some September story time. Yep. So anyways, I was like, I should do some story times. What stories should I tell? And my friends were like, you have to talk about work. And I want to be kind of careful because I don't really want to mention on here where I work exactly. I work in retail, and I think that's all you need to know at this point. So let's get started. It's going to be kind of a mixture of positive and negative. The first story that I shall be telling today is the temper tantrum lady. I was on the register one day, and I do a lot of returns on my register, which adds to the fun stories that I have that at the time that they're happening are very not fun at all. One of the managers comes up to my register with this older woman, and he's like, okay, so we need to fix this thing on this receipt because it was rung up incorrectly. And I was like, oh, it sure was. But then she's like, and that other thing that you guys charged me for that I didn't buy. And he was like, well, actually, like, he might have made an appearance. I don't know. I just was like, what? Maybe I should name him. Toby. His name is Toby.
Toby, you need to behave. Trying to do a video here. I don't have time for this, Toby. Get your crap together. No, you can get.
So she's like, that thing that you guys charged me for that I didn't take home. And he was like, well, you know, we looked at the cameras and yeah, you did take it home with you actually. And she's like, I want my money back. And he was like, well, if you bring the item back, you can have your money back. And she's like, what? Give me my, I didn't take it. And then she's like, I spent thousands of dollars in here. Thousands of dollars. And she starts pulling into her purse and starts throwing out all these like receipts from her purchases with us. And she's like, she knows it, pointing to me. She knows that I spent thousands of dollars in here all the time. See all these receipts. And I was like, what? And first of all, I didn't really remember her. I was like, please don't bring me into this. If you are in a store and you're trying to impress people by the money that you spend, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. Don't do it. And don't throw receipts at people. So she's like, I spent thousands of dollars here, and if you don't give me my money back for this thing that I didn't take home, then I'm never coming back here.
Dang it, Toby. Ugh.
Then she's like, I want to speak to another manager, a higher manager. So she is left with me for a minute, which was fine. The store manager comes over. He's like, yes, ma'am, what's the thing? She's like, you need to return this to me, or I'm never coming back. And then he said, well, we'll look at the cameras. He's like, but actually, we did look at the cameras, and it showed there was a gentleman with you who carried that item out the front door with you. Oops, sorry, I whacked the table. I talk with my hands a lot. So he's like, yeah, we saw that. Now there is a line fine. So he's like, how about we step aside and talk about this? And she's like, well, are you gonna do something? Because if not, then what's the point? There's no point in talking about it.
Freaking Toby!
I go on with my time, curious as to what happened with Temper Tantrum Lady, which, and that was the biggest impression that she left on me, was this woman who's plenty old enough to know not to throw a temper tantrum in our store. You're a grown up. Act better. And it's gonna be hard for you to share your wisdom with me if you're yelling. I found out later that the store manager had ended up calling corporate for wisdom and guidance, and they left it on him to figure out what to do with this lady. He gave her money back. How that works in my brain is that you stole from us because you paid for an item, took that item home or somewhere, you took it somewhere because it was not in our store, and then you came back and we gave you your money back. So to me, I know it's not legally whatever because no one was convicted or whatever, legally, I know nothing happened, but in my mind, that's theft. Whether she really thought that she hadn't taken it or she knew, I don't know. We may never know. It's been probably a couple years since that happened, actually, but that was an unfortunate experience, and I feel like it embodies the retail experience. Big companies, small companies, I've been in both, are so scared of bad publicity that they will do the most unreasonable things out of fear. Not because we did something wrong. We did. We fixed the thing that we did wrong. But then she wanted to, I don't know her motivations. I don't know. Maybe she really thought it. Maybe she really thought she didn't have the thing. Maybe she really did. I don't know. But situations like that, retail stores are fueled by fear, and other businesses that deal with customers publicly.
Toby!
Coffee. I just hate how in the business world, customers are rewarded for horrendous behavior because they're afraid of bad reviews and bad publicity. I hate that that's the world that we live in. And it's very disheartening when you work in retail and things like that happen. And it's interesting because you'd think with a big company they'd be safe from threats like that because they have such a huge client base. Like when she's like, I spent thousands of dollars here, thousands of dollars, and I'm not gonna come back if you don't do this stupid thing that I want you to do, which is completely unreasonable. I will not cry. And I've had people say before that they will not come back, and then, oh look, they're back. Huh, they got over themselves. I don't have all the answers. I just know I don't like what I see. It's very unfortunate. And that's all. So that's that story. So our next story, once I've let it go, is the Chanukah lady. The Chanukah lady. See, Toby's all in a tizzy over here because of the temper tantrum lady. So once upon a time, I was working the day after Christmas, which is kind of a bummer, you know? I feel like the day after Christmas is when you get to enjoy the presents that you just opened the day before. Yeah, I feel like it's an experience. You gotta have I don't know. That's just me. There's worse problems to have, I know, than working the day after Christmas. I get it. I know. You don't have to tell me. But I was still kind of bummed, okay? I was at work the day after Christmas, and this guy, he was like, how are you doing today? And you know, every now and then you tell him how you're doing, because you gotta let it out sometimes. How are you doing today? I said, no, I'm okay, you know. I'm kind of bummed that I'm at work and I'm not at home playing with my toys. He's like, oh yeah. So I remember what happened after that. It wasn't a ton. It was just a nice little conversation. I was like, you know, live. The next lady comes up.
Toby, let me tell my story.
Toby will not stop me. My voice will be heard.
Bam!
Lady comes up. after the guy has left, the guy that I was talking to, who had asked me a question that I had answered, just to clarify, in case you were not sure what had just happened. The woman says, well, if you celebrate Hanukkah, you can open gifts like every day for days. And I was like, okay. And she's like, you know, Jesus celebrated Hanukkah. And I will admit, at this point, I kind of react out of pride. I was like, yeah, I know Jesus celebrated Hanukkah. I know. And I know not everybody knows that. Like, in the Bible, it does talk about Jesus celebrating, I believe it, in the Bible, it was called the Festival of Lights. Feel free to correct me. But yes, Jesus celebrated Hanukkah. And I think I know some Christians that do celebrate Hanukkah, and that's fine. No problem with that. It was just weird how she just decided to throw herself into a conversation that she was not involved in. At the end of the day, whether I celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah, I'm not ruining lives here. So she was like, you know, Jesus celebrated Hanukkah. And I was like, I know, Jesus celebrated Hanukkah. Alright. She just was kind of going on about, I think she brought up like the paganism of Christianity or something about a tree, which after that I looked it up and I can tell you my thoughts after this, but let's just get through the story. I'm sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. But she kept going on about like Hanukkah and paganism with Christianity and all this stuff. And I was like, why is this happening right now? A man who was not you asked me a question. I answered the question. I did not know it was going to be such a controversial answer. No idea. I was just airing my thoughts. But she decided that that was the moment to convert me to celebrating Hanukkah. I was just really annoyed by that whole thing. It was just such an oddly personal situation to be having at the register, and I was just not prepared for it. As far as like my beliefs on Hanukkah versus Christmas and all that jazz, I did do some research after that because I felt like I should do that. So I did. Thank you, Hanukkah lady. And what I saw was basically, yeah, like there are some pagan elements to Christmas, but if you think about it, there's a lot of things in our lives every day that have some kind of pagan history or element to it. And I think as a Christian, you have to go by the leading of the Holy Spirit, your personal convictions, as to whether what you're doing, whether it's pleasing to God. I am not using Christmas to worship any deity other than Jesus, other than the Trinity. And I think that's the most important thing. Now, if you want to completely rid your life of pagan elements, you will probably need to join a cult or move into a cave, and then you'll probably end up starting a cult. But that's beside the point. It was just a weird conversation. It got weird, okay? Just be careful when you talk to people that you don't mention holidays like Christmas. And it's interesting that Christmas seems to get a bad rap on both sides, because we can't really say Christmas because it's too Christian, and then we've got other people saying it's too pagan. So, and in this day and age, everyone's got a reason to be mad about everything. And whether that's a reasonable thing to get upset about, that's up to the individual. The final story for today is, I won't give the name of it yet. I won't give the name of the story. Lady comes through my line and she looks really down. So I said, are you okay? And she said, yeah. And I was like, are you sure? And then we kind of opened the floodgates. Floodgates were open. If I can get the details straight, she was really upset because her mother-in-law had passed away. So they had had a fight, and I guess recently she had died, and that was the last time she had seen her. And she was wrecked with guilt over it, and I felt so bad for her. And she said, and you know, I know she loved my children, and she felt so terrible. I can't remember the words for everything that she was saying, but she was just wrecked with guilt and felt horrible about how things ended. And she knew that the woman was a good grandmother to her children, and she just felt terrible, as I think anyone would if that had been how they had last seen someone who died. So she's upset. So I was like, you know, I'm sure that she knew you loved her and everything. And finally I was like, do you want a hug? And she's like, yes. And so I come around my register.
And this was before COVID, guys, so don't just calm it down.
I come around to hug her and I put my arms around her and I hear her say, you know, we've talked before. Do you remember when we talked about Chanukah? What? It was the Chanukah lady? Part 2? And she did not seem to think that first conversation had gone the way that I had experienced it. And it was like a plot twist at the end of the movie. It was you all along. I consoled you, and you were the Chanukah lady.
What?
I know the right thing, whether I had known or not, the right thing to do would have been to do the same thing that I did in that situation. But looking back, sometimes I wonder, would I have done the same exact thing if I had known it was her? And, you know, that makes me think. That makes me very self-searching, like, was my heart ready for that? Was it good that I didn't know it was her when I was talking to her? But it was interesting, and I'm glad. Of course, I'm glad that I was able to be there for her. And I love the parts of my job where I can have a real connection with people, where, like, you're human, I'm a human, and we're having a moment here. And I love that. There's so much of just people coming through the line, you have to check my stuff, do you want a bag, do you want a receipt, is it on sale, we'll argue about it, it's great, fine. But when I can, like, have a real moment with somebody, that makes my day. Even though usually those real moments happen when someone has died. I've noticed there's been several conversations I've had with people where someone they loved has died. And I was just so happy that I could be there for them during that tough time. I wasn't happy that they were having a tough time. I'm happy I could be there for them during that tough time. And it just makes my day, because it feels like maybe I'm doing something that matters. Because in retail, it's hard to feel like, wow, strangely emotional today. It's hard to feel like what you're doing matters. And yeah, I did not expect to get emotional over this. I recorded this whole video before, and I don't think I got this emotional. I've done a lot of retail in my life, and it's very discouraging. And it's easy to become bitter with people.
Thank you, Toby. Ruining all my moments here.
It's really nice to be able to connect with people and be there for them and feel like maybe I'm having some kind of impact on their life. And, you know, at the end of the day, I hope this YouTube channel, that I can do that here as well. Make some kind of impact on your life. Maybe you see something a little differently. Toby agrees. Maybe I can have some kind of impact on your life for the good, obviously. This went interestingly today. I hope you're able to get something from this video. Please let me know if please let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this story time video, and like, subscribe. I do want to keep doing these story time videos, at least for a while, test the waters, you know. I tell a lot of stories in my real life, so I might as well try it here, see what happens, see if other people like more story times. I will see you later. My next video should be next week's weekly spread. I think I'll be recording that the day, hopefully the day that this video comes out. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm so thankful that you're here, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Try to do something kind, like not just nice. Try to do something kind today for someone. I love you guys.